All right, I can see that I will have to teach you how to
Good evening, good morning. You join us on a on a celebratory day. we are celebrating the shall we say, the US has been without a president for the last 4 years.
I know, it's been a journey.
You're about to hopefully get a functioning government, if not the ideal one that works a little bit. Today we've got with us, we've got Sandy in the top. We have got Lone Wanderer. We've got Crafty Keelah.
Hello, people. You can't see it, but I am waving. Hi.
And we've got Andy from Laughing in Disbelief.
I've never been happier not being angry.
I know, right?
How do you think Trump feels?
He's,
Like
he's the saddest who in Whoville right now. I have to tell you that.
Yes.
Do you think he is still trying to work out how he can fix it?
No, and I don't think. Part of me doesn't think that's what he was doing all this time. Part of me thinks. I know, but part of me thinks it was just about the festival around him and all of the attention. Now, what he's hoping is that the impeachment will go forward, so he gets to walk in and out of the Capitol, the federal building, every day. So all of the cameras will turn to him. That's what he's hoping.
Well, that can't happen.
That will happen if there's an impeachment trial.
But there has to be an impeachment trial. You can't forgive him. You can't just move on.
I agree. There should be at least. There needs to be a reckoning. There needs to be a reckoning.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I mean, if nothing else, I think the Republicans need it.
Oh, yes, they do. They do. They're going to save their party. They have to.
It's go on.
No, sorry. I do think it's interesting. Lindsey Graham's words coming back to haunt him now. That if we elect Trump, it'll tear us apart. I hope that happens, because what'll happen is the GOP will fracture into splinter parties, and you will no longer have the dominance, hopefully, of just two parties. It will be like what's over in the UK at the moment, where you have the Labour Party, Conservatives, and some sort of Lib Dems or some shit like that, which is not like ideal, but it's better than just.
Do you think if the Republicans split, do you think the same can happen with the Democrats at the same time?
Yes.
Well, the Democrats have always been the party of default in this country. I mean, at least in my time, they've been a party of default. If you're not a Democrat, if you're not a Republican, if you're not a fascist, if you're not an oligarch, then you gotta. More than likely, if you want to be part of one of the two major parties, you're gonna have to be a Democrat. But Trump is already talking about starting his new party, the Patriot Party.
The Patriot Party that will represent absolutely nothing but Trump.
Exactly.
I didn't realise you could have a political party of one half of fuck all, but apparently.
We can have a Brexit based on sovereignty.
Well, you see, there is growing dissent in the Democrats too, because you have that young base that are coming through that want the more, I wouldn't say revolutionary politics, but that the more left-wing politics, and then you have the old guard, which Joe represents, which wants the middle of the road. And now that the country is going more polarized, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not, if the GOP splits and the more middle ground conservatives link up with the more middle ground of the Democrats, what will come out of that? Because that's a very real possibility.
Well, it's an interesting question, because how it is here in the States is that if the system really does bake in two major parties. So like for when the Whigs back in the 1850s.
The Whigs.
The Whigs.
The
Whigs. And they got devoured by the Republicans. So if something like that happens here, more than likely it would be something within the party, like the Progressives taking over the Democratic Party, or maybe Trump doing his Patriot Party and trying to absorb or take care or to destroy what's left of the Republicans.
The problem is, I don't, from a slightly religious perspective, I don't see how the Republican Party can let itself split. I don't think that the evangelical Christians will support it because I think they're going to end up a much smaller majority.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
They would, like I said, if the Republicans did, and let's face it, they're in their own little civil war right now, the Republican Party, Mitch McConnell basically against Donald J. Trump. And so it is a battle of supremacy within the party. So even if Donald Trump does make his own Patriot Party, their goal would be to destroy the Republicans. And then there would just be one center-right, or in this case, a fascist party here in the States.
The issue, like, I don't mean to be bad, it's happened before. It has happened before. Sarah Palin was on the ticket. She was on the Republican ticket, and she branched off and created the Tea Party, or helped create the Tea Party, when things didn't go her way. So it's not unique for branches of the Republican Party to branch off into neo-fascist parties. It's happened.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
It's a fool's errand, but this country's still very polarized when it comes to Democrat Republican. So I don't want to be a naysayer, but I don't see a 3-party or 4-party system happening anytime soon.
I think that there are vote. I was talking to Howie Hawkins, who's in charge of, or who was the Green Party candidate, and there are so many barriers for third parties in this country. It's a hard lift for any of them to actually get on all 50 ballots for the presidential election, for example. It's a hard lift for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sandy, pull your microphone up a little bit.
When is someone going to say it's all about money?
Oh, of course it is. That's a moot point at the right now.
Yeah.
The problem is I despair at both of them. I didn't know who was actually going to turn up.
I can't believe I'm actually shocked that Pence agreed to come. But it's one of those things that if he didn't, he would be lumped in with Trump and his career would be over as a politician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is some slim hope for him, at least in his mind, probably to run for president in 2020.
Yeah. That man definitely thinks he did the right thing and he's got a chance.
Yep.
He doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell, but
No,
he does not.
The problem is the two sides of the Republican Party are for and against it. And as far as the Trump side are concerned, which is what 30% of the Republicans, he betrayed them outright.
Yep.
Well,
Persona non grata.
Did you see the new footage that emerged in the last week of the gobshites that went into the Capitol flicking through the notes of Ted Cruz?
I saw that.
I mean, the president is there, make as much objections as you possibly can. The rioters are like, he's going to object. I knew he'd sell us out. It was comical. God. It was actually comical.
It's, these inaugurations are great. You get to see the war criminal.
Yep.
You get to see the pervert.
Wait a minute, is that hanging off his nose?
Yeah, something for everyone. Gosh. Yeah, we were just talking about that before we went live, saying like, why the hell did Hillary stay with him?
Ricardo thinks the GOP's future depends on pressure to expel the insurrectionist senators. The problem is, the senators that went along with Trump either did not bother to do their own vague investigation into what the truth was, or they didn't care.
Well, or they were towing the party line. Just towing the party line,
But the party line wasn't the party line in the Senate. The party line, the official party line, was that it was over.
Yeah. And the unofficial party line then.
No, hang on. The official party line was that it was over, but you always have to have the but. McConnell knew that if some of them didn't present problems or didn't raise objections, that outright you would have, first of all, there would be a blanket ban on freedom of expression and all that shite. And second of all, they would have actually felt, or the people that supported Trump would have felt betrayed outright. And there would be no getting them back or no retaining those people that for some fucking reason they still want to retain.
But surely they had to predict that it was going to anger, immensely anger, one side or the other.
Well, yeah. I mean, we were talking about Mike Pence getting the crap into the stick from both sides. That's the thing. When in a civil war, you got to pick sides.
Yes.
I mean, when you're in a knife fight between two fighting groups, you gotta decide which side that you're on. Being in the middle, you're just gonna get stabbed. That's all that's gonna happen.
Yeah, but you're gonna act like a martyr, and both sides will say, isn't he great? And that's what Pence did. And it's remarkable how unscathed he came out of that.
Well, I think he can still spin it. At the end of the day, he can spin it. He took control. I mean, he took control too late. But some people, how you rewrite history, what happened 2 hours, 3 hours either side, he's got something he can spin in 4 years' time.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing is for the GOP, you're more likely to retain lifetime members than you are the people that came in with Trump. And that's why they're capitulating so much to the people that came in with Trump, because they're more likely to retain those members who have been lifetime members. That's just how politics works. Look at Ireland, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael. It's the same thing. People hate Fianna Fáil, but for years and years and years, they were the party of the working class, and therefore everyone voted, no matter what they did, they voted Fianna Fáil. They brought about one of the worst economic crashes onto the heads of people, and yet they're still somehow relevant. They're still in power. They're still, like, at the moment, the current prime minister is from Fianna Fáil.
Well, you raise an interesting point that in a lot of ways, if you think about politics as a form of tribalism, then it's very similar to religion in that way. In that
Very much so.
These political parties and different religious cults, they have these irrational relationships with people. That reason has difficulty getting through that haze, that defense system there.
You also have to give credit for modern day politicians being able to speak out of both sides of their mouth. In the one speech, they're able to say, I'm for retaining healthcare, and I want everyone to be safe, and yet they will, in the same speech, they will tout premiums and the private insurance companies and how guns are good. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the ability for modern day politicians to speak out of both sides of their mouth, so they're actually appeasing both sides of their crowd. It's incredible.
Well, and I agree with that. The thing is that if you develop an ear for what they're saying, you can tell. You can eventually tell what side that they're on. But for the everyday person who isn't really hip deep in politics, they can easily get fooled.
And they manipulate that something terrible. I've been studying politics for 6.5 years. I did a master's in sociology, and it's remarkable what you learn by just reading what they write. Not just listening to what they say, but reading what they write. Look at the pomp and circumstance. Do you think Trump is sitting there thinking, well, at least my crowd size was bigger?
It's like they're still talking about me. They're still talking about me.
I guarantee that they're tweeting like hell about it right now, saying about all the Trumpers saying Trump had a bigger crowd.
Yeah. I don't have Twitter, so I don't have that problem. I don't
It's
have
only
to
because
look.
he had a big ego.
That's it. Smart move, Keelah. It's a cesspool.
Yay! Here they are. Yay!
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought he would have been.
Yep, he's had his vaccination station.
And she's not wearing a Hillary pantsuit.
There's a Michigan dispensary here in the States that will give you a free joint if you show them your COVID card. If you show that you got your vaccination,
Yep.
they give you some free marijuana. That's what we need.
Cool.
That's
Yeah,
what we need.
Hot for shots.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I wonder if they're showing this to the kids at school. Do they do that?
My
Sometimes.
my daughter right now is doing completely distance education, and she is actually one floor below me. I didn't even ask her if they're actually looking at the inauguration today.
Yeah.
I do love the fact I've kind of started a thing in the chat earlier there by saying gobshite. Gobshite. I say gobshite a lot.
You
And
started.
it's not-
You started that in the previous stream.
I don't think there's ever been a stream that I've been on where I haven't used the word gobshite. At
Yeah.
least once. There it is. Although I do from a sociological standpoint, so it's kind of, especially for the videos, I have to be very careful with what I say.
So gobshite's a technical term in sociology. Then.
Oh yeah. It is in Ireland anyway. I had one on teachers, because one of the things that you come up against is that teachers are liars and all the rest of it. So I was doing an episode of Challenging Conspiracies on teaching, knowing that there's lecturers and science teachers and everything else watching. So I actually, when I was writing out the script, the first time I recorded it, it was like 40 minutes long. So I had to half it. You could imagine the pain of having to half something like that, because there's so many complexities to it.
There's a saying in script writing that you got to kill your babies.
Yeah.
Get rid of the zingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So, but speaking of scripts, man, I hope that they bring out The Handmaid's Tale soon. I've been missing that. Like the next season of it. That's some good quality writing there. It's on Hulu, but they stopped filming because of COVID. So I have no idea when it's coming back.
My girlfriend and I are currently binging through old episodes of Better Call Saul.
Okay.
Good writing.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, it's a good series.
Here's the thing. I haven't seen the last season of Breaking Bad. I've seen everything else. I just haven't watched the last season.
Oh, it's yeah. But the good thing is you don't really have to have watched Breaking Bad to watch Better Call Saul, because it's a prequel. So
Fair enough.
Yeah, I've seen some of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, fun.
Well, I remember the Legal Eagle did video on Better Call Saul, like the courtroom, one of the courtroom scenes, like sort of and that was quite an interesting break. He's quite good at doing a lot of like breakdowns of court scenes in TV things. Like he did the South Park Chewbacca defense thing, if you anyone remembers that.
Mm-hmm.
She did a breakdown of that.
I know I'm dating myself here, but there was this SNL skit with Steve Martin in it called Caveman Lawyer. And And his defense was that I may just be a caveman who got thawed from the permafrost, but even I know. Blah 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 blah.
Nice.
I'll have to look that one up because I love him on old ones of Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah, caveman lawyer.
Yeah, I'll look that up.
The American people.
The American people pay for the basic ceremony for inauguration.
Yeah.
But all the
We
partying and
pay
stuff
for it
done
all.
No, all the partying and that stuff afterwards is paid by private donations.
Yeah.
I'll say this. It's probably it's probably China who pays for this, or some foreign country that we borrow money from.
Mexico is going to pay for it.
Oh,
And then the American taxpayer will have to pay for it in maybe 50 years or so.
Well, I find it very, very interesting that, when you're living in the White House, you get all of this stuff for free, and then you have to pay for your meals and shit. I love that. I absolutely love it. They're sent a bill at the end of the month. Right now, pay up.
Well,
And what's even funnier is that if the president or the first lady even hints at liking something, they will go and get it and keep a stock of it, and then they have to pay for it. So I think it was Michelle Obama that came out and said to Barack, do not even display an ounce of interest in something unless you really fucking like it. I love it.
Well, as I say, lost my train of thought there. Oh, China. You brought up China paying for it. Did you see Pompeo drop the genocide bomb on China? Oh gosh.
Pompeo's going to be remembered as just another would-be.
Nice thing to do as he walks out the door.
You can see him turning around. He's like, "Hey, Xi Jinping, genocide," and runs away.
I mean, he's right, but
yeah, but you don't drop the G word. You don't drop it.
And he's just doing it so that it makes him look good.
Yeah, but it doesn't make him look good.
No. He's going to be like Chris Christie, one of these dudes who try to walk the walk and talk the talk, but they'll never be president.
No, not with his quotations diplomacy.
No.
I am just most glad that we've gotten rid of the goddamn Bob Barr Trump cobble.
I feel sorry for him, Bill Barr, when he was getting grilled. He's like, I need to go to the bathroom. No bathroom for you.
Good. I love that. That was a fun thing to experience.
And I was just like, and I'm waiting for it to be like, do you know about the perils it depends, Kamala Harris? I forgot to put mine on today.
There he is.
Yep.
Donald Trump is the saddest who in Whoville. Joe Biden is really the luckiest who in Whoville.
Yep.
Yeah.
His heart was 2 sizes. Is it 2 sizes too small? Was that it?
Too small was too small.
Yep.
Oh no, his entire career is based upon his level of public empathy and compassion for everybody and everything. It stands in his way more than anything. He hurts so much for other people.
I will say that it stands in his way. I agree with you with that.
Oh, there's my senator.
That one in the back with the hair.
Yeah, great haircut.
Yeah. What, the one next to the blonde?
Hey, Amy. Hey, Amy, the 90s called. They want their hairstyle back.
Yeah. Like I said, I think after what happened a couple of weeks ago, there's security is going to be insane around here today.
Well, apparently, Never Again is saying that people are starting to show up in the streets. There's lots of folks walking towards the barriers.
Yeah.
Vice President Pence, Mr. President-elect, Madam Vice President-elect, members of Congress and the judicial branch, former presidents and
She always looks like she's on the verge of crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always picture her as someone who would do my taxes. To tell you the truth. Someone who would do my taxes.
And I don't mean to be bad. Her hair is lovely, but it always reminds me of the Lego hair.
It does. It does.
So stiff.
Everything is awesome.
ceremony is the
Amy?
culmination of
That's such ugly
244
haircut.
years of a democracy.
Right. Let's
It is the moment when leaders brought to this stage by the will of the people promise to be faithful.
let's see
to our
what
Constitution,
Pastor
to
Greg Logg's
cherish
doing
it
on
and
Twitter
defend
right
it.
now.
It is the moment when they become, as we all
I did feel
should
sorry
be,
for Amy
guardians of
Klobuchar
our
when she
country.
tried to run for president. Like,
Have we
man, they
become
just
too
wiped the floor
jaded,
with her.
too accustomed to the ritual of
Nothing
the
but
passing of
entrails
the
left
torch
on
of
that
democracy
debate
to
stage.
truly appreciate
Oh.
what a blessing
Oh,
and
he's
a
not tweeted
privilege
at all
it is to
today.
witness this moment. I think not.
I-
Wasn't he
don't
convinced
care.
Trump was going to
2
win
weeks ago,
somehow?
when an angry
Magically.
He,
Magically.
mob
as much as
staged an
yesterday, he still was saying that
insurrection
Trump is
and
going to remain in
desecrated
office.
this temple of our democracy.
No, he's
It
not.
awakened
Well, he's going to
us
be in
to our
office in the
responsibilities
spiritual
as
office,
Americans.
not
Oh, I
in the
see.
real office, in the city of God. That's where he's going to be.
The big oval office in the sky.
Yeah.
To be honest, if it's the city in the sky, he can keep it. As long as I'm not there, I'm happy.
All to himself. It's like that timeshare you don't want to buy into. You can have it. You get-
between our leaders and our people takes
I
place
wonder
in
what
front of the
bad
shining
tempered
Capitol
Badger
dome
says. I wonder
for
what
a
Trump's
reason.
Twitter would look
When
like today.
Abraham
Just a
Lincoln
sad,
gave his
frowning
first
face.
inaugural address in front of
Tears.
his Capitol,
Very
the
sad.
dome
Very
was only
sad.
partially
Sweet,
I
sweet
think
tears.
I think a
I
serious
think
answer
you would be
to that.
seeing a very angry face.
I don't think it would be angry. I think it would be more. I did so much for this country, and even in a speech today, he was like, "We have set the Bidens up for success because we have
Oh, yeah.
taken all of this and we have done." I think that would be more what you would see.
I think, yeah.
Okay,
I
let me
think
rephrase
rocket
it.
to the
More
ground.
vigilant child face.
Yeah.
what he'd be,
His
what it
tantrums.
would be, what you saw in his speech today, that it would be a lot more of the, yeah, we're going to leave office, but it'd still be that sort of rallying thing. Hey, the fight goes on. You know, the quote unquote movement that he started is going to go on and go from strength to strength.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be bad.
Now-
He's been embarrassed so many times in the last month. He can't really do anything else but to say to his supporters, you know, the fight will continue.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't think he thought he was going to lose.
No,
of
course
Well,
not.
I would have been.
You know, I mean,
Way too narcissistic to think he could ever lose anything.
one of the benefits of having Joe Biden in office is that you don't have to become an amateur psychologist.
No.
Added benefit.
The problem is that every 90% of the polls predicted Biden would win.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why
But they
was
did
he
the same
surprised?
thing. They did the same thing for Hillary 4 years ago.
Yes, they did.
So he
I'm gonna
was
tell you what.
hoping. He was hoping that because of the, I'm going to be honest with you here. Trump was hoping that because of the virus, so many people wouldn't come to the polls. They would be able to get the mail-in ballots either rescinded or not as many people using the mail-in ballots. And he was hoping that he has created such a flurry in the country that his supporters would come out and vote.
Yeah.
People that had never voted before in their lives. So when that didn't happen, that's what he's furious at. That people did vote in record numbers for Biden.
Yeah.
Via the mail-in ballot.
And this is what, because I think I said that idiot Pastor Locke actually tweeted out something about there's not going to be many people there for the most popular president in history, which is his. But the thing is, it's like I said, it wasn't really. It was not really that anyone is that infused about Biden. It is people that just came out. They wanted rid of Trump.
People, at the end of the day, some
Want rid
people
of him.
are enthused about Biden.
Some
But
people
as there was a fantastic tweet the other day.
You know,
that came
and I
out.
think I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, I was going to say there was a fantastic tweet recently. There was a post on Facebook that got retweeted that said that was commenting on Trump supporters and why they hadn't seen the Biden supporters at the rallies. They said, "We know this is a hoax. We know the virus isn't a hoax. We used mail-in ballots because it's not a hoax, because it's a real threat, and we're not going to forget how you have acted."
I can't remember which late night host it was that was making the joke about Biden being in the White House means Obama is back in the White House. And what it was he said, you know, when they go for dinner, who's he going to invite over to dinner? The Obamas.
Yeah.
Where are they going to have dinner? In the White House. Obama is back in the White House. Oh, I swear it was great.
Well, Obama will finally get his portrait put up in the White House, won't he? The tradition that the incoming president always puts the portrait up at his predecessor. And of course, Trump really just wanted to obliterate any memory of Barack Obama's presidency.
And I just want to bounce back to the idea about why Trump thought he was going to win and why he acted like he was going to win. It was kind of like Napoleon and Hitler, right? They conquered most of Europe, and they're saying, "Hey, you know, I've done all this great stuff. I've been able to do all this stuff that no one expected me to be able to do, and now I'm going to go invade Russia." And it's like, well, you know, of course I'm going to be able to do that because I did all this other stuff. And you know, be able to conquer and dominate Europe. And so I'm going to be able to do this thing again that was statistically impossible for me to do, but I'm going to try to do it again. And he just wasn't able to do it. And that's what made me angry.
I'm actually surprised. The most surprising thing about the last 2 months for me was the fact that he didn't declare martial law.
Well, let me tell you, I think that there were discussions. I think that there were
definitely discussions. Yes.
About, you know, do you really want to go the Julius Caesar route? Do you want to go the Julius Caesar route? Do you want to end up with, 80 knives in the back? Do you want
to die on this cross?
Yeah, is this it? And Donald Trump, you know, of anything, he is innately a coward. He is innately afraid.
Yes, I think so.
And there were communications, I'm sure. That's like, you know, these are the red lines. These are the lines that you can't go over. If you declare martial law, then things will happen. And I think that's one of the reasons why he didn't declare martial law.
So in this last few hours, I've missed this in the news earlier. If it happens in his last few hours of his presidency, did he do all the mass arrests that QAnon was been saying for the last 4 years was going to happen?
No. He pardoned Biden. He pardoned Bannon.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, I'm super sad that he didn't pardon Joe Exotic. Like, I was like, oh wait,
he could have pardoned Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin on the same day. Wouldn't it be funny?
She's a nasty piece of work if ever I met one.
All over the world, as we're here,
Carol fucking Baskin.
Well, if the documentary is true, shall I say?
There's a very good reason why I have stayed quiet in my local area. So I say that note.
But this is not a moment of division.
You don't want to be fed to a tiger.
I don't particularly want to lose the few friends I have that happen to be Republicans and terribly embarrassed by what's been going on.
Have they said anything to you?
Have people said things to me?
Yes.
Yeah, back 4 years ago, they said, "Shut up and take it. You deal with it."
Thank you.
And that was the last time we talked about it.
I'm pleased to call to the podium.
You mean when Ronnie got in?
The president-elect and his family, Father Leo O'Donovan, to lead us in an invocation.
Ronnie.
Please stand if you are
Who's
able
Ronnie?
and remain standing for the national anthem and the pledge to.
If it was a joke, I missed it.
You said 40 years ago. That was wrong.
I said 4. 4. If you heard 40, I misspoke.
I just had a look at the list of pardons. I noticed one name's not on there is Giuliani.
No. Giuliani was on saying he doesn't need a pardon because he's never done anything wrong or against the law. I know.
I've watched him. He is brilliant. He's been protecting himself. He has been very clever. Every court case, he has removed himself before he had to. Before it came to doing anything.
Giuliani's Giuliani's been quite a shrewd operator ever since he's been a prosecutor, in New York. He's quite because there's a lot of like cases that he's well known for that he wasn't necessarily one in the courtroom prosecuting the case, but ended up taking all the glory for it. He's very clever.
Can I just say I effing hate this prayer crap? Is this a safe space for that? Because I effing hate it.
Yeah, fuck yes.
And I didn't think we're supposed to have that shit. It's supposed to be the separation of church and fucking state.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the
what happened there? Like,
the most challenging
lawless with cheese. That's what that is.
They weasel out of it by explaining that this is not the government being in support of one particular religion, but that it is in support of all religions, which is just as bad as far as I'm concerned.
Then why don't they? Because I bet you they're going to invoke gods, right? So it's going to be in all religion. Why not invoke all the gods?
Exactly. I was about to say the same damn thing. There's like, which one of the 10,000 do you want? Choose. You know.
But didn't he have yesterday? Didn't he have? I think it was yesterday or this week. Anyway, he had a rabbi give a prayer as well.
You guys know that the Congress has
Oh, I know.
I look forward to the day when the Satanic Temple is leading the prayer at one of these.
I was just about to say that.
I want to know why the evangelicals are allowing this prayer, considering they're convinced he's not a Christian.
Yeah, I mean, a Catholic in the White House.
Great, now I've got Ozzy Osbourne on my head. I'm not the Antichrist or the Iron.
Is not all public prayer virtue signaling anyway?
Yeah, it is.
Of course it is.
Everyone knows Jesus tells you shouldn't be praying out in public.
Brainbug says every administration should have to pick a patron god, and it can't be the same as the last one.
Oh, I like that.
Mine would be Buckus.
Isn't Reverend?
Oh, he's supposed to mix it up.
This is a Reverend speaking. Isn't the Reverend Protestant?
I think he's Catholic. He's from Georgetown University, so.
Okay. Because we don't really, Catholics don't really call themselves Reverend.
Let's see, Irish father and
maybe Anglican.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's Catholic.
Oh, Biden is Catholic, but him, I don't know.
Pope Francis has reminded
Back
us
did I miss the fires? Not yet. Not yet, not big.
Well, he walks like he's got really raw thighs. So
he's invoking the name of he's just invoking the name of the Pope there for some reason.
Things that are not there. Dreams, on the other hand, are built together.
This is why I like to watch these after they happen, because you can just skip forward the boring bits.
I'm glad actually that you pointed out that Biden's Catholic, because it was quite fun. It was quite fun pointing that out to Dean Esme on Twitter a little while ago.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. 538. I listen to the 538 podcast, and if the Democrat is Catholic, then even if the Catholic voter is Republican, they're more likely to vote Democrat if the candidate is Catholic for on the Democrat side.
Yeah, but isn't he the first Catholic president since JFK? Since JFK, let me finish.
And they shot JFK in the head. So we'll see what happens with Joe Biden. I wish no ill will for Joe Biden, but this is the United States of America. Who knows how it's going to go?
The rise of conspiracy.
Hey, if they're going to shoot someone in the head, they missed the chance to get the right man. So,
well,
depends on what side of the head.
I don't even want to suggest that, because the last thing anyone needed to do was make that man a martyr.
If they're going to
True
kill
that,
Biden,
true.
if they're going to make an attempt on Biden's life, it has to be before the oath. Because afterwards, it would automatically go to Camilla, and they don't want that. Marla?
They won't try to kill Biden.
No. I mean,
Uh,
the one thing that will terrify them more than sleepy Joe Biden is Kamala Harris, a woman in the White House as president.
Right.
Well,
And they can't take them both out.
There is nothing that scares Trump supporters more than a brown-skinned vagina. Let's face that. Right now.
Yeah, I mean, you look how angry they got since between 2008 and 2016 because the black guy won. You know, which is what, in all honesty, a lot of it came down to. I mean, I've often said this, that I can remember being on Twitter in 2012 when Obama was re-elected and seeing the meltdown Donald Trump had on Twitter then.
What the fuck?
Hey, quiet now. They got to play that drinking song.
What the hell kind of skirt is that?
The drinking song, very well.
Oh my god.
What's the drinking song?
Your one looks like she's being escorted but
And
being dragged.
Is it Lady Gaga?
And Americans mock our the pageantry.
It's
we
like,
have.
are they going to throw her off and she's got to parachute down?
Queen Victoria.
But it was like she was being dragged.
The banner is taken from an old English drinking song I always heard.
Okay,
What the
forgive
hell
me.
kind of pin is that?
Who is that?
That is Lady Gaga.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is Lady Gaga.
Well, I was suspicious, but I wasn't sure. She's not quite gaudy enough.
You should have known that from the outfit, honestly.
I don't do celebrities. Sorry, Jeff. Just don't do them.
Well, I don't.
But I do recall a conspiracy theory about Lady Gaga and the Illuminati.
Oh yeah, I've heard that one.
I think Lady Gaga
Beyonce as well. Beyonce as well.
Dog says Ivanka let herself go.
Oh.
Yeah, let her go over to the other side.
I want Slipknot to perform this with an inauguration one day.
See, these are the weird things I find odd. The singing the national anthem, that's fine. Why have they got a gold microphone with a gold cable?
America, that's why.
America, yeah.
It's just gaudish.
It was left over from Trump, and they had to use it because Amazon couldn't deliver a new one in time.
Nothing wrong with recycling.
That, you know, all joking apart, that actually wouldn't even surprise me because Trump has had like gold everything in there over the last few years.
I just want to say that this is a moment of unity between the American people and the Irish. F the English, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There was footage of them bringing out his fucking Trump has an actual gold potty that he brings around with him.
Oh my gosh.
Have you not seen the gold potty?
No, I don't
There was
want to see
footage.
anything. I don't want to see anything associated with that man's ass. Okay.
There's footage of them bringing it out. You're gonna love this. They brought out the bust of I think it was Lincoln, the Lincoln bust, and right after that they had the lectern, the fucking potty. The gold potty. He can't go anywhere without his gold potty.
They've taken. I was going to say they've taken that website's been taken down. Did anyone see that? TrumpSingles.com.
No.
I've seen that.
Make dating great again.
Oh God.
And that was a real website, right? I mean, that was a real.
I don't know if it was a real Trump endorsed website or whether this was a parody. I didn't get, but it's been taken down, whatever it was. But it was supposed to be a dating site for Trumpanzees, pretty much. So.
Also, apparently, Amy Klobuchar is the DJ for this whole thing.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did this always have under God in it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
1953.
Yeah, 53. They added it.
Thank you, Cold War. This is the effect of constant war in the United States of America. It undermines our democratic institutions. That's what it does.
This was, I mean, that was a lot of the sort of changing things, like with the money and like the Pledge of Allegiance. Pretty much a direct result of McCarthyism.
To administer the oath.
Yeah.
To our
I'm on the live broadcast
Asian
on
American,
TV.
our
It's
first
way ahead of
Asian
you
American,
guys.
and our
Is
first
it?
woman vice president.
Amy already
Kamala
fucking spoke.
Harris.
What is she doing
It
back
is
up with
my
that?
great
She's the
privilege
DJ.
to welcome
She is the
to
inaugural
stage
ceremonies
the
member.
first Latina to ever serve on the
'Cause we're
Supreme
live.
Court of the
Must
United
have
States
only
of
have
America,
one member though.
Justice Sonia Sotomayor.
Maybe, I don't know what.
She's
Well,
almost done with her oath.
What channel are you watching this on?
I'm watching on ABC.
See, that might be a slight delay in the coverage here. So,
Well, it's the same C-SPAN. Only C-SPAN does the coverage. It's everything. Everybody's got a feed.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
see, no spoilers now. I mean, if she suddenly says, "Nah, fuck it, I don't want this job," you know.
Okay, she hugs her husband afterwards. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Damn.
Oh, now she's waving.
Shut up.
Right, Jenny's ruined the stream for everyone by giving the spoilers away.
Yeah.
This presidency's off.
Someone kick her.
That I will well and faithfully discharge. The duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
If someone wants on, I'd be happy to give them a place.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Is this just cosplay for America pretending that it's a democracy? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I don't know.
Well, I take issue with the fact that calling it just a democracy. It's not. It's a republic. It's a republic democracy. It's not quite a democracy because of the electoral college. So it's a republic.
Well, time will tell if this is just fast.
Sorry, just given the technical term here.
Well, that was me setting you up for the punchline. That's
Oh,
what
here
happened.
comes the what's-her-face. Yeah, there is a delay between this one and then C-SPAN. I pulled up C-SPAN on
welcome Jennifer
another
Lopez
page.
to perform This Land Is Your Land and America the Beautiful, accompanied by members of the President's Own United States Marine Band.
Because, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So now we're getting the celebrity shuffle.
Oh, I know the words. I know the words to this song. Does it go, America, fuck yeah?
These celebrities are a big reason why Biden's isn't in office now. And the song she's singing is by Woody Guthrie, who was one of the greatest
Communists.
communists. Yeah, communists.
Americans, thank you.
Whose guitar killed fascists.
Yep. But you know, you couldn't convince some people that he was socialist or even communist. Like, no, he's an American hero. I'm like, well, but
That doesn't exclude him from being a communist or a socialist. In fairness, like.
Nothing wrong with that. That's your thing.
As I went walking down that ribbon of highway.
I don't mean to be bad. Fucking Trump was more of a communist than Joe Biden is. He's an autocrat.
Well,
Or a failed one.
Bolsheviks, the next year
Trump-
because I
Trump
think
was a
that
whole-
would just lose the crowd with that.
Trump was a whole new lineage. She's an egocrat.
Yep. He transcends.
No, I like the fact that he's a failed autocrat. Failed.
Do you think right now he's just like wallowing and crying and eating cheeseburgers? It's just like, why don't they love me?
That's how I want to imagine him going.
Personally, I think he's gone fucking golfing.
What a great image. Johnny stuffed himself with Big Macs.
Yeah. He's just like, why?
I mean, I think you're giving him too much credit in the idea that he liked being president as much. He liked the pomp and circumstance, yes. But he didn't actually like the job because, hello, he didn't fucking do it.
Yeah.
You know, he was on the golf course more than he was in executive meetings. He skipped out on the coronavirus, the pandemic meetings. He skipped all of that for golf. So his life isn't going to change much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like I don't think he's ever heard the word no in his life. Like no, you're not going to be re-elected. It's like, but I gave you guys money.
Oh,
you know?
he heard the no. 80 million people told him fuck off.
but I gave you guys money.
Donald Trump's always the guy looking for the next lie. So even if this lie doesn't work for him, he's always looking for the next lie to work the next lie.
I have never seen a better pathological liar in all of my time. Like he lies as easily as he breathes. You know.
Jeff just super chatted. Don't diss Comrade Donald while I'm out.
Okay, here it comes.
All right, I'm gonna dodge out, everyone. I'm gonna share this moment with my girlfriend, and it's close. It's dear to my heart. That's what it is. So I'm gonna say goodbye. And this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.
Enjoy your day. Seriously.
In the history of
Take care.
America, where J-Lo was the warm-up act for Chief Justice Roberts. With that, it is now my distinct honor to introduce the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, John Roberts, to administer the presidential oath to the next President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden.
You can actually feel like half of the world holding their breath to make sure that this goes well, and then he doesn't have a heart attack mid-speech.
I know,
Or he doesn't make a mistake like Trump
Obama.
did. They had to redo it the next day.
Yeah.
Did he really do that, Jen?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Why am I not surprised?
Roberts made the mistake, not Trump.
Why am I not surprised?
Obama fucked it up and he had to redo it the next day.
The football is now
Raise your
inactive.
right hand and
in
repeat
Trump's
after
hands.
me. I, Joseph Robinette
Everybody
Biden
can breathe.
Jr.,
The whole
do
planet can
solemnly
breathe.
swear
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the
I
office
think it's only
of
appropriate that
President
I'm
of the
watching
United
this on a
States
lag.
President of the United States,
and will, to the best of my ability,
will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
He's gone!
And there is a collective sigh of relief.
I'm trying not to cry because.
Wait a minute, the sun is getting dimmer.
The sun's getting... Shit, it's dark here already.
Yeah, it's getting dark here too.
Not here.
Oh. I am so relieved, and it's not because he is president, it's because
No.
that fuckwit isn't.
I know.
And it's official.
It's official, everyone. You heard it here first. The fuckwit's gone.
And look at that. There's no one rioting in the DC streets because they didn't get to film it on their camera.
No. Hello, Badger.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Oh, well, were we supposed to stand up for that?
No, I'm not going to give him that much. Jesus. Technically, it's not noon yet, but
Come
you know.
No.
Oh, the utter relief of that.
But now, I don't know.
Can he issue arrest warrants from the podium?
God. What a relief. I'm with Jenny. I want to hug Jenny so bad right now.
Sup.
I'm sending you hugs, darling.
I think we all are.
Oh, gosh.
My fellow Americans, a moment we have all been waiting for. It is now my great privilege and high honor to be the first person to officially introduce the 46th President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden, Jr.
Chief Justice Roberts, Vice President Harris.
So did I miss anything important whilst I was
Leader
out?
Schumer.
Trump's gone.
Leader McConnell.
It's all over.
Okay.
Vice President Pence. My distinguished guests, my fellow Americans. This is America's day. This is democracy's day. A day of history and hope, of renewal and resolve. Through a crucible for the ages, America has been tested anew, and America has risen to the challenge. Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded. We've learned again that democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed.
Here is something happened.
And now you know why everybody thinks America is a democracy, because they keep saying it is.
Apparently the orange fellow isn't president anymore, Badger.
Under God.
Oh,
indivisible.
now what happened to him?
To carry out the peaceful
It's a bit
Retired
like
to play golf.
Well, you might think he's still president, but it's a bit like how Disney's actually canon, and you think it's not.
Oh, stop.
Optimistic. And set our
Now-
sights on the nation we know we can be.
I
and
am
we must
aware
be.
that you're making a laugh,
I thank my predecessors of both parties.
but please do not compare that to Mr. Dump.
I thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I know
If there's
I know
anyone
the
who would
resilience of
support
our
Disney being
Constitution
canon, it's that.
and the strength of our nation, as does President Carter, who I spoke with last night, who cannot be with us today, but whom we salute for his lifetime in service. I've
Was
just
Carter
taken the
Republican
sacred
or
oath.
Democrat?
Each of those
He was a Democrat.
taken.
Yeah.
The
The
oath
peanut
first
farmer.
sworn by George Washington. But the American
Oh, he
story.
was.
to
He was a
prove
peanut
that
farmer.
He was a peanut farmer. He got elected just less than 2 weeks before I turned 18.
who seek a more
And
perfect
trust me, my daddy really wanted me to vote against him.
I just find the concept of a peanut farmer.
And over the centuries, through storm and strife,
He was a very smart
in
peanut
peace and in
farmer,
war,
too.
we've come so far.
And his sister was like a
We
big
still have
evangelical, you know.
Did he wear a monocle?
We'll press forward.
No,
with speed and urgency,
not like
for we have
not the
much to
planters
do
guy.
in this winter of
Yes,
peril
I'm a farmer.
and significant possibilities.
Oh, what do you farm?
Much to repair, much to restore, much to heal, much to build, and much to gain.
Peanuts.
Few people in our nation's history have been more challenged or found a time more challenging or difficult.
I think Carter's been like one of the best. He's been one of the best sort of, should we say, ex-presidents in history. Like what he's done since he's left office, I think, compared to a lot of them.
Of World War II, millions of jobs have been lost. Hundreds of thousands of businesses closed. A cry for racial justice, some 400 years in the making, moves us. The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer. A cry for survival comes from the planet itself. A
3
cry
more
that
minutes and
can't
it's
be any
official.
more desperate or any more clear. And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism,
So,
that we must confront and we will defeat.
where do you think the Trump presidential library is going to end up?
To overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America, requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy: unity. Unity. In another January, on New Year's Day in 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. When he put pen to paper, the president said, and I quote, "If my name ever goes down into history, it'll be for this act, and my whole soul is in it." My whole soul is in it. Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. And I ask every American to join me in this cause. Uniting to fight the foes we face: anger, resentment and hatred, extremism, lawlessness, violence, disease, joblessness, and hopelessness. With unity, we can do great things, important things. We can right wrongs. We can put people to work in good jobs. We can teach our children in safe schools. We can overcome the deadly virus. We can reward work and rebuild the middle class and make health care secure for all. We can deliver racial justice, and we can make America once again the leading force for good in the world. I know speaking of unity can sound to some like a foolish fantasy these days. I know the forces that divide us are deep and they are real. But I also know they are
I mean,
not
I
new.
know this is pretty.
Our history has been a constant struggle between the American ideal.
I know this is a lot of rhetoric here, but I don't be funny. He's been more presidential in the last sort of couple of minutes than the last guy was throughout his entire term.
Demonization have long torn us apart. The battle is perennial, and victory is never assured. Through Civil War, the Great Depression, World War, 9/11, through struggle, sacrifice, and setbacks, our better angels have always prevailed. In each of these moments, enough of us have come together.
Yay! He's officially
to carry
gone.
all of us forward.
Where is old Tronald anyway?
And we can do that now.
Florida.
Florida.
That's where he's heading.
What's he doing in Florida?
Golfing.
Golf, probably.
The way of
That's
unity.
his residence.
We can see each other not as adversaries, but as neighbors. We can treat
He's
each other
going
with
off to
dignity
officially
and
become
respect.
Florida man.
We can join forces, stop the shouting, and
Tronald
lower
Dump.
the temperature. For without unity, there is no peace.
All right, he's gone,
goodness
and
and
that's my
fury.
stream stopped.
No progress.
Yeah, you've been counting this down for a while now, haven't you?
Yeah, it started on Monday. Monday night.
This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge. And unity is the path forward. And we must meet this moment as the United States of America. If we do that, I guarantee you we will not fail. We have never, ever failed in America. We've acted together. And so today, at this time, in this place, let's start afresh. All of us.
No.
Let's begin to listen to one another again.
Yes.
Hear one another. See one another. Show respect to one another. Politics doesn't have to be a raging fire, destroying everything in its past.
There's a little bit of fluff on his head that's bothering me.
Every disagreement.
It's his hair.
Doesn't have to be a cause for total war. And we must reject the culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured.
Fake news.
My fellow Americans, we have to be different than this. America has to be better than this. And I believe America is so much better than this. Just look around. Here we stand in the shadow of the Capitol Dome, as was mentioned earlier, completed amid the Civil War, when the Union itself was literally hanging in the balance. Yet we endured. We prevailed. Here we stand, looking out on the great mall where Dr. King spoke of his dream. Here we stand where 108 years ago, at another inaugural, thousands of protesters tried to block brave women marching for the right to vote. And today, we mark the swearing in of the first woman in American history elected to national office, Vice President Kamala Harris. Don't tell me things can't change. Here we stand, across the Potomac from Arlington Cemetery, where heroes who gave the last full measure of devotion rest in eternal peace. And here we stand, just days after a riotous mob thought they could use violence to silence the will of the people, to stop the work of our democracy, to drive us from this sacred ground. It did not happen. It will never happen. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Not ever. To all those who supported our campaign, I'm humbled by the faith you've placed in us. To all those who did not support us, let me say this. Hear me out as we move forward. Take a measure of me and my heart. And if you still disagree, so be it. That's democracy. That's America. The right to dissent peaceably within the guardrails of our republic is perhaps this nation's greatest strength. Yet hear me clearly. Disagreement must not lead to disunion. And I pledge this to you. I will be a president for all Americans. All Americans. And I promise you, I will fight as hard for those who did not support me as for those who did. Many centuries ago, St. Augustine, a saint of my church, wrote that a people was a multitude defined by the common objects of their love. Defined by the common objects of their love. What are the common objects we as Americans love that define us as Americans? I think we know. Opportunity, security, liberty, dignity, respect, honor, and yes, the truth. Recent weeks and months have taught us a painful lesson. There is truth and there are lies. Lies told for power and for profit. And each of us has a duty and a responsibility as citizens, as Americans, and especially as leaders. Leaders who have pledged to honor our Constitution and protect our nation, to defend the truth and defeat the lies. Look, I understand that many of my fellow Americans view the future with fear and trepidation. I understand they worry about their jobs. I understand, like my dad, they lay at bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering, can I keep my health care? Can I pay my mortgage? Thinking about their families, about what comes next. I promise you, I get it. But the answer is not to turn inward, to retreat into competing factions, distrusting those who don't look like you, or worship the way you do, or don't get their news from the same sources you do. We must end this uncivil war that pits red against blue, rural versus urban, or rural versus urban, conservative versus liberal. We can do this if we open our souls instead of hardening our hearts, if we show a little tolerance and humility, and if we're willing to stand in the other person's shoes, as my mom would say, just for a moment, stand in their shoes. Because here's the thing about life. There's no accounting for what fate will deal you. Some days, when you need a hand. There are other days when we're called to lend a hand. That's how it has to be. That's what we do for one another. And if we are this way, our country will be stronger, more prosperous, more ready for the future. And we can still disagree. My fellow Americans, in the work ahead of us, we're going to need each other. We need all our strength to persevere through this dark winter. We're entering what may be the toughest and deadliest period of the virus. We must set aside politics and finally face this pandemic as one nation. One nation. And I promise you this, as the Bible says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. We will get through this together. Together. Look, folks, all my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here, we all understand the world is watching all of us today. So here's my message to those beyond our borders. America has been tested, and we've come out stronger for it. We will repair our alliances and engage with the world once again, not to meet yesterday's challenges, but today's and tomorrow's challenges. And we'll lead not merely by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. We'll be a strong and trusted partner for peace, progress, and security. Look, you all know we've been through so much in this nation. And my first act as president, I'd like to ask you to join me in a moment of silent prayer. Remember all those who we lost in this past year to the pandemic. Those 400,000 fellow Americans, moms, dads, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, friends, neighbors, and co-workers. We'll honor them for becoming the people and the nation we know we can and should be. So I ask you, let's say a silent prayer for those who've lost their lives and those left behind, and for our country.
No thanks, I choose not to join.
Yeah, give everyone a moment of silence. Moment of silent prayer.
Amen.
Yeah.
Hey, Nathaniel.
Folks, this is a time of testing. We face an attack on our democracy and on truth, a raging virus, growing inequity, the sting of systemic racism, a climate in crisis, America's role in the world. Any one of these would be enough to challenge us in profound ways. But the fact is, we face them all at once, presenting this nation with one of the gravest responsibilities we've had. Now we're going to be tested. Are we going to step up? All of us? It's time for boldness, for there's so much to do. And this is certain. I promise you, we will be judged, you and I, by how we resolve these cascading crises of our era. We will rise to the occasion is the question. Will we master this rare and difficult hour? Will we meet our obligations and pass along a new and better world to our children? I believe we must. I'm sure you do as well. I believe we will. And when we do, we'll write the next great chapter in the history of the United States of America, the American story. A story that might sound something like a song that means a lot to me. It's called American Anthem. There's one verse that stands out, at least for me, and it goes like this. The work and prayers of century have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. Let's us add our own work and prayers to the unfolding story of our great nation. If we do this, then when our days are through, our children and our children's children will say of us, they gave their best, they did their duty, they healed a broken land. My fellow Americans, I close the day where I began, with the sacred oath. Before God and all of you, I give you my word. I will always level with you. I will defend the Constitution. I'll defend our democracy. I'll defend America. And I'll give all of you, keep everything I do in your service, thinking not of power, but of possibilities, not of personal interest, but the public good. And together, we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, a story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answered the call of history. We met the moment. Democracy and hope, truth and justice did not die on our watch but thrived. That America secured liberty at home and stood once again as a beacon to the world. That is what we owe our forebears, one another, and generation to follow. So, with purpose and resolve, we turn to those tasks of our time, sustained by faith, driven by conviction, and devoted to one another and the country we love with all our hearts. May God bless America, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, America.
Now, my question is, how many times am I going to have to call this guy a fucking liar in the first week?
That was interesting.
It was.
I was going to suggest a drinking game every time you said America take a drink.
Are you trying to kill everyone?
Yeah.
No, I'm like, you know,
Ladies and
I'm
gentlemen, please
euphoric
welcome
because
Garth
Trump's
Brooks to
gone, but now I'm
perform
waiting for the
Amazing
fucking
Grace.
lies to start.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to be cynical here, so I'll start it off. But I'm gonna be cynical. It just seemed like, well, first of all, it was a stereotypical speech, an inauguration speech. A lot of that was trumpeted by Obama. In 2008.
Trumpeted.
Yeah, I know, right? But the speech was to me full of pleas and sound bites.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was an uncivil
sound
war.
Yes.
It didn't seem to me, although it sounded like he was speaking from the heart. It didn't, because it was just full of these little one-line zingers of that can be quoted, and that for me said, like, if you go back to Obama's speech and in 2009, yes, there was one-liners, yes, there was the zingers, there was the sound bites. But there was also real depth to what he was saying. There was stories in what he was saying. You didn't really get that here. It was just pleas for unity, strength, and one-liners.
No.
Unit. Sorry, I just a quick take on it. Yeah, as I said, he's probably, as far as a speech, it's been probably way more of a presidential speech than anything in the past 4 years. Sadly, that's not really saying a lot. It's the only thing you can. I agree with Keelah.
It was skin deep.
It was America. You know, it's.
The problem is I don't think he's trying to not piss anyone off.
To be fair,
he's trying to be.
Well, he's the president of America. Yeah. So I mean, do you want to talk about Ireland or something?
No.
There are so many times he gets
ceremony is the very essence of what this country is about, and for him to speak of anything other than the values, the hopes, the aspirations, whether you see it as a soundbite or shallow or not, it's the reality of what we are here. Okay.
But is that not the point at which you're putting forward what you are going to do to meet those goals?
I don't want him to stand up there and be controversial. I want him to be a cheerleader right now. We need that badly.
Yep.
Don't disagree.
Yeah, I don't care if he can talk or not. I want to know what he can do with his cabinet and lead and help get us past the pandemic. And
exactly.
Those kinds of things. I don't give a shit whether if he has a stutter. He's not Donald Trump.
No.
Yeah, with respect, because I don't have a horse in the race here. I'm looking from a purely objectional standpoint. When he talks about the common objects and the common goals, the opportunity, security, liberty, dignity, respect, humor, honor, and truth. What about the people before the pandemic who are dying outside of hospitals because they couldn't afford to get into a hospital? Is that respect? And that's what he stood over in the Senate. And that's what he stood over in his campaign by saying we're not going to have universal health care. So I'm talking about from an objectional standpoint. Yes, we definitely need, not just on behalf of Americans, but we as a wider community that deals with America need that cheerleader today. But we also need something more substantial. And what I personally speaking, what I got from that speech was just sound bites and rehashed from the campaign, the best sound bites from the campaign, and the best points from Obama's speech in 2009. And I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm going to be honest. I didn't expect much more, but I did expect more than just disjointed sound bites.
Dr. Biden, Madam Vice President.
That's just me being honest.
Americans and the world. When day comes,
Has
we ask ourselves,
that speech, the initial speech, ever been used as a platform?
Never-ending shade.
Or what sort of platform is it used for?
We must wade. We've braved
inaugural speeches are very often used as the definition of a span of a president's time. They're not
and yet
the rules that they're going to live by. They're not the plan that they're going to take on. They're not. I'm going to do this and this. They're not. They're just not. They speak in platitudes. They speak in hopes and desires and wishes and love they're not a game plan. They're just not a game plan.
I mean, I just.
Just 2 seconds. I just want to reiterate what Susan just said when she said, Madam Vice President and Dr. Biden. I did like that.
That's our union with purpose to compose.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I don't. Just to me, I kind of agree with Keelah. I don't think there's a lot of substance to it. It was a lot of sound bites. I understand. Also, you do need that sort of cheerleader kind of thing right now, but let's be honest, that's not going to go down as one of the great inauguration speeches in history, is it?
Okay.
You know, be honest about that.
I don't care.
And I think it's more at the moment. Everyone's relieved he's got. Now he's gone.
He's signing executive orders later today protecting DACA. He's signing executive orders, not sending. He's ending that piece of shit, dumb shit, emergency stuff for the wall at the border, whatever. He's putting us back in the Paris Climate Accords. He's putting us back with the World Health Organization today. These are the things he's doing today. He is forcing forward further eviction moratoriums from the CDC into the United States, all the way until the end of March right now. These things that are important. Today is a day of celebration, not of whether or not this motherfucker gave the best speech of all time.
Yeah. I have a question.
And no, it wasn't the greatest inaugural speech of all time. Not a chance. But it was a great one for what we've been going through and for what we're facing tomorrow. And it is what we needed.
We've seen a force that would shatter.
What's your question, Dave?
Rather than share it.
That's gone.
Given
the state of the American governmental departments, how quickly is he going to be able to do what he said?
I think that will come very quickly because a lot of the people who are gone out of the departments would have been gone anyway in the transitional period. He has been building up his transitional program even without being allowed into the White House in order to do it. He has been filling posts.
Departments like the EPA, he has completely destroyed.
Oh, that won't take long to get back up and running. I mean, the EPA initially was up and running within 6 months.
Functional. Nathaniel?
Yeah, I can pretty well answer all of that, depending on which of the things you're talking about. You're talking about Medicare and stuff like that. Medicare for all. That's, I mean, I don't know. The United States may never do that. We're talking about like the EPA and stuff. He's signing an executive order today, reclosing land that they opened up for endangered wildlife hunting and for lands up in Alaska and stuff that they were opening up for oil companies. And he's signing that today. He's closing that today. These are things he can do today. There's other legislative things he can't do today. He can sign the executive order, which then puts it into the committees. Now, the committees are going to be run by Democrats as of right now, because now that it's Madam Vice President. Oh, I love that the MAGAs and all these center-right to hear that. Not only is she Madam Vice President, she's also Madam African American Vice President.
She's not African.
She's Indian and Jamaican.
Very specifically, I don't think it says African American, so I'm just going to quote from that if that's okay.
No, she specifically says she is not African American.
My bad, I was just reading off her bio. All right, my bad. Sorry. I'll shut up.
No, don't shut up.
No, carry on.
I just want to say congratulations to all the Americans for Tronald dumping Tronald Dump. I'm going to make my escape.
Okay. Thank you for popping in, Patrick.
Thank you.
I bet you're not the best afraid.
For there was always light, if only
there's a lot of legislative things that have to happen, but there are a lot of things that he can do starting today, like the EPA thing that you mentioned, and not allowing them anymore to, like in West Virginia, basically dumping wastewater wherever they want to. That can go away with the single stroke of a pen. Other things are going to take more time, like putting more money into things like with Fannie Mae and stuff like that, which is going to take more money because it requires more money, it's going to go through legislative sessions.
Thank you,
What's
Amanda
really,
Gorman.
what's really going to matter is if he can take these things that he's doing with executive order and make them into legislation that gets passed and signed. Because until you do that, it's just an executive order that can be redone in 4 years if somebody else gets in.
Yes. And even if it goes past executive order status into proclamations and stuff, that has to go through legislative sessions as well, and so that takes more time. And also, fuck Roy Blunt. But anyways,
and there already are Republicans who have started to put the crap in the gears to slow down and halt some of his appointment. What do they call it? Approvals or whatever.
Yeah, his cabinet position appointments. Yeah, like Josh Hawley in
that little prick.
Yeah, in Missouri, who should probably, I don't know, be at least censured or something. But there's a lot of things he'll be able to do starting today. This is the first 100 days things that we have to look at and kind of see how his cabinet positions are going to go forward. Now, he has the majority, if you will, but people like Tim Manchin are from West Virginia, who's not even a Democrat, are going to, he's not going to vote for things like the $2,000 stimulus checks and things like that that are vital for people. And he's not going to vote for an extension of rent moratorium, or, if you will, complete rental erasure of what's already due. He's not going to vote for that, and so that's going to be more difficult for Biden to push through.
What do you think about power sharing in the Senate?
You think that Democrats have power?
No, I don't. That's the problem.
We need you.
Isn't there an attempt to bring the requirement for passing legislation in the Senate from the 60 super majority down to 51?
Well, that's a rule change, and whatever parties in power can change the Senate floor rules, and they are probably going to do a bunch of that to start with.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, they have to, or they'll never survive. There's no way they're going to get super majorities on everything.
Yeah.
The Republicans put in that rule set just to fuck with the Democrats when they were able to start getting stuff through with just one or two Republicans.
We will seek the good in and for.
I do like the fact, though, I've been on Twitter and just like the fact that at POTUS now President Biden. I think this fact was set up a few days ago, but I don't know. I'm just liking it right now.
There was a Twitter notification. There is a new White House.
Yeah. It wasn't the White House suspended because fucking Donald Trump wanted to use it, and POTUS was also suspended.
No, POTUS wasn't. They just deleted all the tweets. It was fantastic watching him just tweet and have them deleted.
People, your people, shall no longer raise up weapons against one another. We will rather use
Brainbug is asking, is the National Park Service website going to come back up now? I miss my wolf updates.
I would think so, and I also think that they're going to be allowed to use the phrase climate change. Again. These fucking Republicans and their belief that if you don't say something it isn't true. Like, how fucking childish can you be?
Or if you say fake news enough times, people think it's true.
Or that alternative facts mean anything other than lies.
Preserving the land.
Alternative facts that are true are just called facts.
I am going to say, I have never laughed so hard in my life than the first time I heard Kellyanne Conway trying to justify alternative facts.
Yeah.
These hallowed grounds.
If nothing else, that was a comedy moment that I will never forget from that administration.
I'm so glad that we don't have to deal with his latest press secretary anymore. Every time I saw that woman, I just wanted to rearrange her face.
Who recently received their citizenship.
So glad
we might actually get press conferences back in the White House.
I know, right?
The fewer the better.
The fewer the better.
From the wealthy
Yeah.
to those
The fewer the better. It really is.
Well,
no,
actually,
yeah. If they're giving good news, then yes.
As such, teach us, oh God.
Yeah. Which ironically, the positive thing. Well, hold on. I hate Joe Biden. Just so everybody knows, I do not like him. I despise that fucking Republican. All right, but
he's not Trump.
Excited he's there.
This is it. I don't. Trump. We said we were talking about it before. Biden is not. It's virtually no one. As much as he had a small base of people that really wanted him, he was nobody's candidate really. He just wasn't Trump.
You just honestly, and I think my Americans can agree with me on this one. Out of all the people in this country, was Biden really the best we had?
Please remain standing
like,
as the
really?
Armed Forces Color Guard
Like,
retires our national
no.
colors.
Like,
he's not even the best in this room right now.
exactly.
And I'm not insulting any of you. I'm just saying he's that bad.
Yeah.
Jenni for 2024.
Jenni for 2024.
You heard it here first. Jenni for 2024.
No, I was bummed out of politics when I transitioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was being groomed by the locals to run for alderman and mayor and that kind of stuff. And when I transitioned, they dropped me like a hot potato. But that was, the 70s.
Yeah.
Actually, who's eligible in this room? Because I think myself, Dave, and Keelah were ruled out. So
you think
we're eligible in the old-fashioned way?
Well, Dave and Jeff are definitely ruled out.
No, I can't.
I don't know about me. I'm Irish. They might let me in.
And it's an ironic. I'm going to go back on this. It's ironic that it happened, like, because here we sit in 2020, 2021, and Biden just named a transgender person to be in charge of one of the departments.
Oh. Yeah. That's not nice. That's just Nathaniel's old enough to be president. That's not nice.
I am old enough to be president. That's true.
And have you considered running?
No, not only are there millions upon millions of people more qualified and better at it than I am, but there are amazing people of color, women of color, people of LGBTQ+, trans people. There are indigenous peoples who deserve to have the opportunity to do something that would actually do some good for it. It's something other than white people for once. So, no, I've never considered it.
Ricardo says, let them have Boris. You can have Boris, he is American.
Yeah.
Actually, even in my own country, I'm not old enough to be president. You have to be 30.
What's the minimum age?
35. I'm not 35 yet.
Yes. Oh, you're just a babe. Why are we listening to you?
Because I'm awesome. Experience trumps age. I might be young, but I have a lot of experience.
I'm guessing our country is younger than yours, and we stole that from you then. Fair enough. We've made up nothing.
Well, I mean...
Technically, our entire country is stolen.
You
stole it from us.
Well, no, Dave. The good thing is...
Indians.
Sorry,
Native Americans.
Where we got it from is not up for debate.
The good thing about this is, at least now, we don't have to come and take the colonies back.
You wouldn't want it anyway.
Well, we were kind of fearing that we've kind of figured that you guys weren't really ready for independence yet over the last 4 years, so we were kind of thinking, yeah, we might have to take this shit back, and
they're still trying to
just wanted to come over here and try to screw us out of back rent.
They're still trying to find ways to jump in Ireland.
No. We wouldn't. We will settle for back taxes and tea duty, and that'll be it.
Sandy said there was a lot of people that said at last election, at least it isn't Clinton.
Look.
Yeah, she was very unpopular. She was very unpopular. I don't care what anyone says. Clinton was
she was lost on pure. Propaganda lost her the election. She would have won it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, again, she wasn't that popular.
It was that last week, wasn't it, when all that stuff about those phone calls kind of came out. That I think was probably what swung it.
I don't. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't like Hillary's right of center liberal stance, because I think a lot of it is just another form of corporatism. But
no, she is very similar to the most right-wing person we've had in 20 years.
Technically, one of the most qualified people to ever run for office.
Yeah,
she is so advanced. She's so capable that it should be hands down for her to run for anything. But people in this country vote on personality, and
yep.
Right, Brainbug says.
Attitude.
Brainbug said he. Oh God.
Sorry, I don't. Before you I don't much about a lot of her presentation. Just seemed to a lot of people to be entitled. She felt like she was entitled to be there.
But to be fair, she'd earned some of that.
She earned some of it, yeah. But it was the air of entitlement.
You still don't show it.
No.
Particularly for women. Particularly for women. Women are not supposed to show that they are entitled to shit. Like, it's part of the misogyny, the deep-rooted misogyny. No, I didn't like. I'm going to be honest. One of the main reasons why I didn't like Hillary is because she stood on a stage with Mubarak and said, "America stands with Mubarak for life," and then and that was just before the Egyptian revolution. So that's one of the reasons why I really don't like her. She would brush up against autocrats just as much as Trump would if it suited her narrative. So it was, but that's why I don't like politicians.
Makes sense.
This is it's part of the reason he was the other idiot was able to get away with calling her Crooked Hillary for so long in that campaign, because people see her that way.
Yeah,
paint
her as that way. Right, Brainbug says he's old enough to be president, but he can't be president because he'd do something evil with insects. Apparently, there are reports that the orange blob left a note on the Resolute desk.
Yeah.
Ask the panel how many think it was written in crayon. I'm more inclined to think. I think someone else wrote it for him.
No, it was written in Sharpie.
I think he's probably. I think he's more likely left a stink bomb in one of the drawers.
I would hope. I'm gonna be honest. I would hope he did the right thing. I know he didn't. So I would hope that one of his aides before they left actually wrote it and put it in the drawer like they were supposed to, for that air of traditionality.
I have a question, given that they're watching the moving vans. When does he actually get to the White House?
What do you mean?
Probably not for a while yet.
He's in the State House at the moment, isn't he?
No, they're in the Capitol building.
I know. I was just pointing. It's today. He's already there. It's today.
So he is. So he can move in now.
Yeah, it's his house.
But surely, I thought they said they were basically going to fumigate and clean the place.
Yeah, they said that was going to take about 5 to 7 hours.
Yeah, they were doing that this morning since I was awake and he was leaving our house.
I thought there'd be more of there'd be days between the one leaving and the.
And apparently Trump didn't clean the toilets for like a year, so that's going to take a little extra time.
I don't know if that's true. Oh, fuck you, Ted Cruz. Why did they put Ted Cruz on the TV like he didn't try to overthrow the fucking government? Yo, my man, what's up, yo? Also, I didn't know Hillary was still running. Sorry, I don't know why we were talking about her.
We were just talking about Biden, about Trump's, and the similarity between people that were thankful that she didn't get in.
Oh, I would have been over fucking joyed had she won. I cannot tell you how excited I would have been that the most qualified person in the history of our country would become president. Oh my God. But also, this is 2021. Joe Biden's president. Yeah. You can tell the difference between how excited I am between the two.
But you're not excited because Biden's president.
Who are on the ticket on November, he is the most qualified person.
Yes,
true.
That's very true. How do we get the orange stains out of the oval carpet?
You remove them and burn them and put new ones down. That's the only way to get rid of a mold like that.
Is the tanning booth governmental property, or does Trump take it with him?
He didn't have a tanning booth. He had a spray booth.
Yeah, Trump takes it with him alongside his golden latrine. his little potty. I swear to God, it was funny. It was funny watching the bust of Abraham Lincoln being taken out, and like 3 minutes later, his little potty came out after it.
Is he allowed to take anything?
Not
As in,
supposed
they
to.
have to. It looks like the photos are of him giving things away.
Anything he receives as a state gift is property of the state.
Of the
not him.
Then what about all the people leaving with pictures and statues and busts?
Well, people decorate their own personal offices.
Yes. And there are things that they are given, as well as things they can purchase with their salaries and things like that, that they can take. But there's a bunch of shit they can't take, but every president does. Like Gerald Ford took the fucking fine china. So it's just the way it goes. It's, I mean, come on, they steal millions of taxpayer dollars, usually bomb a bunch of other countries, overthrow, Venezuela or something, and then...
Yeah, but I want them to get... Listen, I don't care what all the other ones have done. I want them to get every fucking spoon back off Trump.
Why?
Because it's Trump!
Jim, hang on, hold on. Do you really want anyone else using utensils that Trump put in his mouth?
No, I think they should be got back and burnt.
Let's face
that's
it.
Not the point.
Everything that went into Trump's hands ended up in his mouth.
I understand disease theory. Those things can be sterilized.
Even sterilization won't clean that stain.
What is something if he stole it that he actually, because we know he did, I mean, he can't not, that you would be okay with him keeping?
A dried rose.
Has anyone checked on the Resolute desk yet?
Oh. I'm wondering if it's still there. Because I know, I'll tell you, if Barack Obama finds out that, I made a joke about this on Twitter earlier, if Barack Obama finds out that he took old Resolute, I've seen Bo's feet up on that. Ain't having it. He gonna be Mar-a-Lago. It's gonna be his house.
Yeah, you heard about Mar-a-Lago that they have when they zone for that golf club, there's a specific clause that says nobody can stay there for any more than X number of days consistently, and because anything beyond that establishes that as a permanent residence, and it's not zoned for that. And they're in a legal fight down there to keep Trump out.
Let's hope they succeed. But then where will he go?
Well, we're hoping he's going to have to do a run around the country.
I don't care where he goes.
Jail.
I tell you what, he can come move to my town here.
Yes.
When are Melania's papers?
You like.
When are Melania's papers going to be filed?
Very soon, apparently.
Nathaniel shakes his head. You don't think so?
I've already been through this with a lot of people. There's no way she ever divorces him.
You don't think so?
No, there is not a way. She'd lose every single benefit that she currently has, and which she has a lot, by the way. And she would lose, like, there's still money coming in from the United States to her and her family, as well as any kind of status she might have. Where's she gonna go?
Yeah, but she has to touch him and sleep with him.
Well, no, she could end the relationship with him.
They did not sleep in the same bed or the same room while they were in the White House. So no, she doesn't. And we've seen when he's trying to yell at my girl Michelle too. When he tried to grab her hand once, she was like, "Get the fuck off!"
Yeah.
Remember that? And then whenever she had to smile at him and turn away, and you look at her and she's like mad as shit because she has to be close to this person.
How does he just pull off being relaxed and cool regardless of where he is?
He's Barack Obama, dude.
Who, Obama?
Yeah.
Because he's just a cool motherfucker.
He is. I don't agree with everything he's ever done.
No.
Maybe like bombing civilians, but that guy, I don't know that it's fair to compare the two speeches between Biden and Obama. Like let's do Jimmy Carter or something maybe. But you're talking about Barack Obama, who is one of the most popular people on the planet, and for good reason. And coming in and everything, even in 2008, and he was like, "Oh, I'm apparently the first black president." Oh, which somebody, Michelle, did they tell you? That's just like who he always is, and that's the way he looks. And then of course Michelle comes in, and she's like also me too. And I'm just like, yes, girl, you too. I'm gonna leave Susan for you.
I've been listening on audiobooks. I've been listening to The Promised Land by Barack Obama, and it's very interesting to hear his progression from his perspective.
So just as the stream catches up with Susan.
And it is, by the way.
And Michelle Obama was the hottest first lady we've ever had.
Oh, I don't disagree with that, but it is. And here's a bit of trivia for you with like his evolution over time. Do you know who convinced Barack Obama to really consider more than he had marriage equality?
Joe, wasn't it?
46th president. Yep.
Joe.
Right back.
Joe was in favor of marriage equality since, well, he's been kind of campaigning on the issue since 1995 or 96.
Yeah, and so, you know, for all the things that, and Jeff can tell you, for him being not a great orator, we're talking about Barack Obama, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. He does have some progressive ideals, and then he's also not, but still he's not Donald Trump.
One of the things that I will give him credit for is his ability to change his mind on things. Biden, I mean, if there's a good enough argument put to him, he has the ability to change his mind, and not a lot of people in politics are able to do that.
No.
And that's what I want most out of my politician.
Trouble with it, a little of it in politics, it is like if changing your mind, it's seen as a U-turn. It's seen as a weakness, but it's really not.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want someone that's going to change their minds when there's fucking evidence to show them they should change their fucking mind.
Yeah. It's what I was saying about Kamala Harris in the primaries, and Susan can tell you this because I wrote like everything down. It's like Kamala Harris used to be, I don't know, like a cop or something, and over time she changed and she moved into the most liberal senator as far as voting record goes. Certainly not but as far as voting record goes, and people want to chastise her for that as if change more progressive or changing your mind at all if you see that it does good is a bad thing when it's not. In fact,
so I was listening in whilst I was out.
Hey, wait a minute. Why isn't this guy with Kamala like one step behind?
So
you mean her husband?
I was listening while you're out, so I'm about to sort of lower the tone here. I didn't know that Trump and Melania had not been in the same bedroom whilst they'd been there. I'm presuming that's because it'd be a bit weird with both of them and Ivanka in the same bed.
I don't think they slept together before they moved to the White House either.
The last time they slept together apparently is when they had the brat, and the only reason why I think she slept with him was to have the brat and so she could have claim and stake over his inheritance.
And that's another reason she's never gonna fucking leave.
Yep. At the end of the day, she shouldn't have to stay that much longer. He can't live that much longer.
I mean,
she might love him, you know.
It might be true love.
I don't know. I've seen the expression on her face when he touches her in public.
Wait. We don't really know. He might be tremendous in bed.
Can I just explain this? There's no expression. There's no expression on her face because of all the Botox.
Yeah.
And yet she manages
that's not having a go. That's just fact.
Dog thinks the note will say, "Please pardon me," written in crayon.
Yeah, I think it's gonna.
I'm going to be really pissed. I'm going to be really pissed if he pardons him.
Oh.
Based on what?
Based on I want Trump needs to be dragged across the coals.
But isn't what he's likely to be facing like New York, something Soddle Biden could do about that?
No, he couldn't do anything about it. The state stuff Trump can drag out for the next 20 years and stay out of jail.
Yeah.
Federal stuff he can't, but he can get pardoned for.
Well, I was having this discussion with someone the other day. When it was Gerald Ford, wasn't it, that pardoned Nixon?
Yeah, the next fucking day.
If he was, there's two routes. Either he pardons Trump, gives him a presidential pardon, to heal the country. But the problem with that is he's going back on everything that he said. And what will happen is he will not get a second term, and he knows this. If he pardons Trump, that is his second term gone. Completely. That is no. That is the Democrats' second term gone.
No, not just second term, if I may. That's 2022, where you lose the House and you get obliterated in the Senate at a time when, of the, I think there's 24, 25 Senate seats, the 13 of those, which are in the most contested, are Republicans, when you could really take the Senate. If he does that shit, you'll lose everything.
I mean, it's hard not to draw comparisons with Nixon. All Nixon did, I don't mention about it, it was a very important thing that was revealed at Watergate, but all Nixon did was try to steal files and stuff from the Democrats, right?
I want to know what Nixon did was lie.
I mean, you compare that with telling people to drink bleach to get rid of one of the worst pandemics in the history of modern era. You talk about the pressures, the phone calls, the pressures on other nations, the inciting a riot in the Capitol. You go through the last 4 or 5 years and more of Trump. You can't compare that with Nixon. Nixon brought in the EPA. As shitty as he was, he brought in...
You say, as far as I'm aware,
by today's
is this
standards,
opinion?
Richard Nixon would be a Democrat.
It was Nixon. Did Nixon walk away from the office being considered a crook, as in actually a crook, as in a con man, a criminal?
Yeah, pretty much.
In the same way Trump is.
Nixon was considered a crook before he ever ran for president because of the checkers, the whole checkers episode.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that nickname Tricky Dicky was something he had before he even became president.
And Jeff is speaking from memory.
Jeff was there.
I don't know if Jeff is, but I am.
I jumped
I
on that
voted
on
for
purpose. Did you? Wait, both times?
Nope.
Fair enough.
Nope, and he's the only Republican I've ever voted for.
But
Jenny.
The point is, like, Ford got obliterated because one of the major reasons that people didn't forgive him pardoning Nixon.
Yeah.
They felt that Nixon should have faced the music. He didn't.
People were talking about that till election eve.
Yeah. So the idea that Biden would even entertain the idea, it's not possible. It would be literal suicide in terms of a presidency at the moment. It would be literal suicide in politics. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
I never realized how tall Cory Booker is. Man, he's taller than Obama. Yeah. Dude,
really?
Yeah. That dude is. I did not know, man. That'd be a guy walk in a room and be like,
holy cow.
What's up, man? Shit. No, yeah. And then James Comey wants to come out and say, I think you should pardon him. I'm like, I think you should be fired still. Go away. And why are you on Colbert's show?
I know.
Gosh, Stephen, way to make a bad choice. Because I know that he chooses his guests, obviously.
He does. Well, he's in the room when they're showed.
Yes. November 4th, 20 data. I mean, now people talking about like dictatorships and things like that, and was Donald Trump a dictator or a fascist or a Nazi or whatever? I know what he was. He was the president. And he's not anymore. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got my opinions on that because I really hate the word fascist getting thrown around as loosely.
The problem is you voted him out at the end of the day.
To me, he was a fascist sympathizer. He wasn't a fascist.
I think I was Nathaniel who described him previously. He had fascist tendencies.
I think the problem is people just sort of define it as like being racist at times and stuff like that. It's not how it's defined. And I think you've got to really understand some characteristics of fascism before you start throwing those labels out, because those labels have a lot of power, and I see them an awful lot of the time, and not just America. and it's not just an like an American thing. I see this in Britain as well. I mean, in the 80s, in the 1980s, when people were throwing the term like fascist around about Margaret Thatcher, she may have been a lot of things. She wasn't a fascist.
Really?
Fascism is in the strictest political definition of what it was kind of invented with Mussolini, is the blending of government and corporate structures to the betterment of the corporation. And that's what Mussolini did, and that's what fascism is. It ends up being accompanied by a totalitarian or authoritarian government because of the amount of power that flows to the top then as a result of the merging. But people use it as that they're pointing out somebody's a dictator or something like that, and that's just incorrect. It's just not what fascism is.
That's not fair.
I mean, historically, fascism's sort of social base has often been rooted in the sort of petty bourgeoisie, sort of lower middle class kind of layers of society. Has always been its base,
right?
But it isn't just like an authoritarian, nasty form of authoritarian racism and bigotry, but it strives to actually build like a mass movement on the streets that can inflict violence and terror on political opponents and minorities.
See, but that's not the definition.
Brainbug makes a good point. That's why Brainbug makes a good point.
That's not the definition of fascism, though. That's the implementation of fascism.
I wasn't saying it was a definition.
Oh,
Brainbug makes a good point. That's why the inevitable result of corporate lobbying is fascism.
Yep.
Pretty
By
much.
the way, did you folks see with Mr. Marijuana Man walking down with him, the guy in the blue jacket was walking with Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
That is part of his Secret Service attaché, which is something that Donald Trump and Melania will have for the rest of their lives. So yet again, another reason Melania is not going
even if they're impeached.
If they're impeached, it goes away.
Yeah,
Goes bye-bye.
He'll go convicted with impeachment with conviction. Yes.
Sorry, they've already been
Not
impeached.
just the
Well, they just out of interest. Would Melania lose hers too?
Yes.
I feel that's unfair.
But here's the thing, though. It's the idea that you can't be in a marriage with someone and avoid that person completely. Of course you can, especially when you have that much wealth.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
New York. He's never going back.
No, but you have to say she seemed happy in New York.
She can go anywhere as long as she calls him every now and then and says, "Hey, I'm still alive, by the way." He's not going to give a fuck. He doesn't care about her. She's just a commodity to
Eleanor
him.
Roosevelt did not get any of the benefits that Franklin Delano Roosevelt got after he died. Sorry, it's just the way it is.
Come to Portland, Melania. Come on. Come hang out with us anarchists.
I am definitely going to need another cup of tea, so I will be back.
Well, I'm going to end the stream. I think we are done.
Okay.
Did we have anybody in the chat watching?
We had loads of people in the chat watching at different points.
Yeah. Hello and goodbye to everybody in the chat.
I'm sorry to ask such a dumb question, but I'm down to one device again. My Wi-Fi gave up, so I'm on data on the phone.
You saw that right there, the military bands that were on in Washington there. That was more people than attended Donald Trump's inauguration.
Well, I mean, look, it is disturbing when you talk about when people talk about a peaceful transfer of power and there's 25,000 National Guards keeping watch over the city like that. That's not peaceful. That is not, and that's part of the reason why I took issue with the speech from
the last guy.
I think we lost. I think she lost her microphone.
Somebody got nuked.
The next 2 years are going to be fun, folks. Just so you know.
They are.
Turns out the pandemic's still a thing. So.
Brainbug says, Susan and Nathaniel, are you going live today?
I'm going to work in an hour or less than that.
You didn't get the day off too.
Here's the thing. So I totally did. And then they were like, hey, we're launching new phones. Who wants to work next week? And I was like, hey, I'm available on Tuesday and Wednesday. Sure. Yesterday, Oh. So, but
we
good
lost
news
Keelah.
is that
We did.
Noon, oh, darn it. Noon over there, that was only like 9 o'clock here. So it's still 10 o'clock in the morning. There you
No,
go.
it's not bad.
Yeah, I've got a full like hour to like drive off this cider. So I'm good. We got to celebrate.
More celebration. All day
But
at work.
We do not plan on going live. We actually I recorded a video last week. You can go watch it about the future of our plans for our channel and stuff. So,
Keelah's back.
Did your mic work?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. Yeah, my mic fell.
I think you were in the middle of saying something as well. Then.
I was making the point that it's kind of what frustrated me about the inaugural address a little bit when he talks about America has been tested and we came out stronger, and you have 25,000 National Guards keeping watch so that he's not murdered on the first day of his presidency. I mean, it's an aspiration, definitely, but it's not a conclusion. It's not guaranteed that you've come out of the test unfazed.
Yeah, I mean, is it? I mean, I don't know how it compares to like normal security for an inauguration. I honestly don't. It seems overkill because of the crowds and so on. I honestly wouldn't. But I mean, because you can think back to like 70s of Carter, who actually got out and walked with the people to down.
Well, that's tradition. That's usually what they would do.
Bush did it too.
Yeah. I think I might be wrong. I think Carter sort of started that one, didn't he? I might be wrong about that, but
actually, I think you might be right.
Obviously, I just don't. I mean, I don't. I'd have to see what the normal level of security is, but it certainly looks really bad, especially with the events of the past week, and there had to be a strong, security presence for it. But I get what you're saying. They haven't. America's not necessarily come out of this yet, and I've been saying this for a while. Trump may be defeated. The ideology that he represents has not been.
Exactly. And again, yes, we need the pageantry. Yes, we need the cheerleader and the spokesperson, but we also need realism and to say that beyond just the toxicity of the last 4 years, there are real systemic issues facing America. You're looking at a friend of mine kept saying, we're overdue for a war. So there's either a war or there's I can't remember what else he said, but the third option was a plague. We have a plague, so we might see a little bit of change, and that might correct the system that's been flailing, but we don't know yet. So that's something to watch out for, because if he says we're going to make it more equal, we're going to make it a lot better for ordinary people, and again, this emphasis on building up the middle class and what he means by the middle class does that mean everyone else is going to get left behind again? That's something to watch out for over the next 4 to 8 years.
Right, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone.
Bye, people.
Thank you very much to everyone who came in and for sharing this inauguration with us. We are all completely ecstatic that Trump is out of office.
Yes, we are.
And
Dave, can I just say, you do the best streams. You do the best streams ever. Nobody does streaming like you do.
I think you need to find a better streamer. Right.
There we go. I don't have to do that bad impression again for a while.
Never again.
I'm waiting to see his next statement.
Well, thank you for having me on, because I really, really enjoyed this. So,
thank you for coming. Right. Thank you for everyone in the chat. We will see you on Critical Questions on Friday. I will probably be on streams later because shit's going on. Bye.